When you hear the words faster than light, what do you think? Do you think of speed? Do you think of space? Or do you think of a small roguelike game? Most educated people would think of the former, but we're not educated here. We're gamers. Faster Than Light is a roguelike game, and, in a sense, it is quite small, but what it lacks of size, it makes up plenty for in character. Faster Than Light, or FTL as it's better known, is a small game known for its difficulty and art style. First, let's go over that art style. FTL is a pixel art game, where everything is drawn to a set scale. The overall style of the game is set in a sort of grungy space empire that isn't quite developed enough to look like it has been there forever, but it's also not young enough to make everything look empty and abandoned. The game strikes a middle ground, where the ships look good, but everyone has their own specialized way of getting around it. And pirates. Oh boy. Pirates have by far the best aesthetic of the game. They really are just dressed like a group of rebels. Their ships are painted with crude insignia to give away what they are to the everyday person, but most of the pirates have dialogue that suggests that they only really become a popular occupation recently. Most of the pirate ships are just repurposed and stolen ships, with purple paint covering them to strike fear into the lowliest of traders. But that's enough about pirates. Each race and faction has their own design of ship. They all look very different to others. The humans have streamlined ships that range in design depending on who they were made for, while the robotic NGs seem to relate to pieces of scrap being held together. Mantis have spiky warships, rocks have giant, well, rocks, and slugs have some in a completely different manner. A whole lot of those words that I said won't make sense to anyone who hasn't played FTL before, so let's talk about gameplay. When you click play, you are greeted with a hangar. In this hangar, you can see your first ever ship and the crew that it has. The ship is the pinnacle of a tutorial ship. It is a terrible ship, consisting of a skeleton crew that is only really meeting the needs of a simple trader. But you're not a simple trader, you're a messenger for the Federation. At the start of the game, you find out that the Rebellion has just defeated the Federation and are now pushing to take control of the galaxy, and you are tasked with taking your message across dangerous space to deliver it to the remaining Federation stronghold and warn them of the coming invasion. The ship you are in is mainly there to teach you the basics. Currently you don't have anything else unlocked, so naturally you want to progress to unlock other ships. Your primary goal is to survive. You do this by jumping between navigation points that lead to the exit of the sector. The exit is marked, and you know which jumps lead to where, so finding the path is easy enough. The challenge of the game comes from events. Each jump consumes fuel and activates an event. These events can range from nothing, but can also be decisions and hostile enemies. This is where the difficulty ramps up. While events don't exactly tie together, they do have knock-on effects in the overall run. Decide to buy that new weapon. Now you don't have enough currency to pay a pirate's toll later. While this may not seem like much, most of the ships aren't exactly made out for combat, besides a few. While the game is centered around combat, it is largely optional the way you want to play out the battles. You could fight a battle with an enemy and aim to destroy him, but he could be well armed or better shielded than your weapons can handle. Alternatively, you could escape and jump to the next system, but charging your hyperdrive takes time, and the enemy won't stop shooting until you have. Combat can play out in a lot of different ways, and your armory is suited to this. Weapons come in different types. Laser weapons deal a set amount of damage, and travel, but can miss and damage shields temporarily. Missile weapons deal a set amount of damage, and don't travel instantly, but they bypass shields completely. However, they are in a limited supply. Ion weapons are EMP guns. They don't deal physical damage, but can shut down a system for a certain amount of time. Bombs bypass shield, travel instantly, but often miss, and are limited. There is also the choice to board and fight in melee combat, but teleportation takes time to recharge, and you need your limited crew members to do it. This game's fighting system is all a game of rock, paper, scissors, and you will need to learn and assess the situation and decide the best plan of action before attempting anything. While it might seem fun to pump all your money into missile weapons, missiles are limited and quite expensive. Lasers work really well for most of the game, but the moment an enemy comes up with more shields than you have lasers, you better just give up, because they're going to absolutely destroy you. All these weapons come together to create a sort of synergy in the way you play. There are plenty of different types of weapons for each class, but they all require different levels of power and currency to purchase. Overall, FTL is more like a strategic game of chess in space, with guns and giant slugs. The developers of this game have finished rolling out any updates, but there are also no major bugs, and it does feel like a finished game. They also made another game. It's called Into the Breach. It's actually space chess. Now, can I recommend this game? Yes, it's pretty fun. What score would I give it? I don't know, I don't do scores here. That's someone else's deal.